Welcome to my presentation here at FIBO, and thank you for having found the link to this presentation. I'm Damir. I'm a manager and managing director of House of Yas, and today I'm going to talk about Sales and Branding 2020, which was the original plan in January. I think in January we came up with the idea, and FIBO requested this presentation there, but the world was a different world at that time, and that's why I decided to make the subtitle the main topic of this presentation: the changed conditions due to COVID-19 and how we should deal with them. My presentation will be split into two parts. First of all, this is the agenda so that you can see what to expect. We're going to start with an introduction and intro, and then I will focus quickly on Corona, an excursion into Corona. The focus will be on how the world is changing and therefore how marketing is changing or has to change as well. And in the second part of this presentation, I will try to make suggestions for solutions for those companies, whether B2B or B2C among you, who have the opportunity in a competition to still position themselves. And that's normally a lot of businesses, a lot of companies, and I'll show you a strategic approach for that and a few key takeaways. So the first part will be intro and Corona, and the second part we'll take a deeper look at things. So let me tell you who I am. My name is Damir Delalajic, now 36 years old, and I've been active in marketing for about 10 years. I've been involved or dealing with the topic of marketing a lot, marketing and sales, for about 10 years now, and I have a certain passion for brands. The whole topic is currently developing, also in the agency that I've developed or founded 7 years ago and that I'm still the managing director today, is developing in more sustainable thinking into more sustainable development. But that's not the point today. Let me briefly tell you what we do at House of Yas. We're a content agency, content marketing agency, a digital content marketing agency, basically working for clients like Immobilien Scout, Osram, Frankfurt Airport, Fraport. We plan their content, we create their content, and distribute content for them. So we support companies in getting their content strategy out there. And besides the fact that I manage the agency and the fact that we deal with content every day, I've just taken a Corona-related break for a few months now, but it will be over in October. Besides all these things, I've posted around 700 videos on YouTube in the last years, mainly covered the hygiene part, which you will get to know later on in this presentation, and I've documented very intensively how we've set up the agency, what problems we're dealing with on a daily basis, our review on things, on sales and marketing strategies, and so on. So check it out if you want. Now let me begin with our excursion. I've put some thinking into this, and I was wondering which word fits best, which overarching term fits best to sum up what has happened in the last 6 or 7 months, how the topic of COVID-19 has announced itself, and what effects it has had on the economy and on marketing. And there's only one term that I kept coming back to, and that's the term of transformation. So that's why I picked 3 aspects that I consider very relevant for you if you're thinking about how you can bring your company ahead as a shop, as a dealer, as a sales and distribution company, or whatever it is that you do. How can you bring your company ahead? How can you do the best possible marketing, and which channels should I choose? How should I approach topics in general? And I think in this field we have to look at traditional marketing first, because this is going through a transformation at the moment. Why is it being transformed at the moment? And it says transformation from all channels, out of channels. because the channels themselves create or cause a transformation. That could be the traditional channels like TV, out of home, poster advertising on the streets that are unable to react. That means, as an example, in COVID-19, when COVID-19 came up, there were a lot of TV campaigns, or before COVID, a lot of out-of-home campaigns, TV campaigns were produced before this intensive lockdown took place. These contents were produced before, and they couldn't be changed anymore. It was not possible to adapt them to the behavior of the users anymore. They couldn't be put in the context of the world anymore because the world had changed, and they had to be published the way they were made, which means that they performed a lot less well than they would have performed in a world without COVID-19 and without the lockdown, which means that traditional marketing itself limits itself very strongly. It doesn't mean that it's going to disappear completely, but it means that it will go through a major transformation and cannot happen the way it has happened in the last decades. Out-of-home campaigns and TV commercials cannot react. They're unable to react. And if you look at TV, I think it's one of the most prominent examples this year with the current James Bond movie. You can see that it had to be postponed. The release had to be postponed because of the lockdown and because the movie theaters had to close down, and there were also other factors that led to that, and that led to massive losses. On the other side, we have online. That could be streaming services. We have online formats and online campaigns that are able to react very strongly and can be modified and can be changed. So this is traditional marketing. I like to speed things up a little bit because we have a lot of topics and not much time. So yeah, companies and businesses are transforming as well. True transformation is taking place. In the last years, we talked about we've talked a lot about transformation, and now companies have to be more sustainable. They have to take certain marketing channels more seriously, and they have to put the user in the center of attention and have to think about how they can anticipate their customers' needs and then meet those needs. A very good example for that, I think, is gyms and other fitness offers that suddenly in the last months launched online offers, and these online offers are going to be around for the next 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years. They would have happened also in the next years, but through the current conditions, they came into being much faster due to the pressure to preserve their existence. So what do these offers do? They put the user in the focus and try to understand the users. So the last aspect is clients, customers, users. And this is changing again. I mean, user behavior is not happening right now. It's not changing right now, but it has changed, let's say, over the last 10 years massively because of the internet, because of different offers that you can now use on the internet, or because of the internet. That means apps, social media, websites, and those anticipate my user behavior and allow me to move around there the way I want to, and not the way the other side requests me to behave or move around. So companies have to try to understand the user journey and accompany that. So these are the three aspects. Traditional marketing is transforming, companies and businesses are transforming, and also the users or the user behavior is transforming or changing. And you need to bear that in mind when you think about doing marketing, because then you understand, then you can ask yourself the overarching question: am I in this transformation that's taking place? And it has always taken place. It's not just taking place now, but it's a very intensive transformation phase right now. Am I in the transformation? Am I up to date, future oriented in this transformation process that is taking place at the moment? Or do I have a romantic look onto the past and think about measures or create measures that may have worked in the past, but that don't focus on the users anymore and just reflect my current understanding of marketing? So, of course, these are all claims. These are all arguments or aspects that have to be proven. And I think this graph that you can see right now on the slide, that's the COVID-19 Marketing Barometer 2020. from sort list, and it shows quite well who the losers and the winners are concerning marketing. So which channels, which measures were strongly reduced, and which channels or measures, or mostly measures and strategies, are being pushed much stronger now. So on the loser side, you see advertising, actual branding and positioning measures, also events, of course, those are the big losers. Whereas on the other side, we see mainly digital strategies, creations, where we see massive investments also, where companies are very committed. And the absolute winner here is content strategy, which means approaches to take content to interact with your users or customers. Content strategy, why is that the winner? Why is a lot of, why are a lot of things moving in this direction? Well, we need to look in the past again with regard to this aspect too. It's not been happening only in the last months. I can't focus on it too much, but content strategies and content marketing strategies have been very, very central measures also in the past years concerning the marketing industry and concerning companies to position themselves sustainably and in the long run, and to make their users loyal. The short-term effects are, the short-term reasons for content strategy being the winner are the following. First of all, home office, working from home, means we all spend a lot more time at home than before. That means that we have more options to be online. We have more time available that we can spend online. Mostly since we don't have to commute to work anymore, we have a lot more time left that we can spend online. Our surfing behavior changes because we don't navigate impulse driven anymore, but we also solve current problems that we have, and a problem can be that you have too much time and need to fill this time with something. So we're trying to solve current problems, and of course the offer side understands that as well, which means that there's more offers out there, and there's offers that need to be used nowadays. For example, video telephony or online offers in general that were available only offline before, stationary before, now they are marketed more strongly. So before we get from the excursion part into content strategy, and before I try to show you how content strategy can be implemented in content marketing, before I actually show you how you can approach these topics if you haven't had many touch points yet, and on the other hand how I can do a fairly quick analysis regarding which contents I as a company should produce and how I can approach my users with that. I'd like you to see the definition of content strategy. It says content strategy is a professional approach for planning, creating, publishing and managing all digital content along the customer journey, which means that this is about all the different, the various touch points, the points where people get in touch with things, where communication touch points that I send out, communication that I send out either online or not online. And if I think about content strategy, then I try to set these aspects up in a logical way and to think along the customer journey, which means where are my customers, where are my potential customers, where are they, what need for information do these potential or customers have in these moments, and how can I meet their need for information and transport the need for information there. So if you see that on a flywheel, the question is, am I far away from a purchase, or am I close to making a purchase? And if I'm close to a purchase, I would rather want product relevant information as a customer, and if I'm far away from the purchase, I'm more topic oriented with regard to the information that I need as a customer. Now, content strategy and content marketing strategy is the next aspect. There's one key element that our head of marketing in House of Yes has focused on to create his own approach on how companies can determine what their ideal content mix would be and what their content strategy could look like, is a model that Manny, our head of marketing, has adapted or applied to the HHH model. And I'm going to explain this model to you in a minute. Now, first of all, let's have a look at the current content landscape online and the internet, and how when we cooperate with companies that don't have many touch points yet, either with digital marketing as such or with content marketing, how we communicate to these companies and what the first ideas look like. So on this slide, you can see the content jungle, and what you're finding out there are a lot of formats and channels. So it's a combination of these two aspects. Of course, there's technologies and trends and all these things as well, but formats and channels are actually the first touch points you have. Formats can be Instagram channels, it could be the Christmas commercial from Edeka, it could be the big wave storytelling by Red Bull, and channels could be the classic ones like Facebook, YouTube, but also increasingly more new channels like video, Twitch, TikTok, that make companies, that face companies with the challenge to understand the variety of formats they can use and the variety of platforms on which these formats can take place. Websites are actually missing on here. So the question is, where do I start? What am I supposed to do? What do I do? So to answer this question, we need to answer some basics questions for ourselves. What does my content profile look like, or what could my content profile look like? Which content profile could users actually wish for regarding my offer and my company, and which solutions have other similar companies come up with that I can look at as an example. So let's have a look at the Hero Hub Hygiene model, because our head of marketing has used this as a framework to make it fairly easy for companies to quickly do a quick check of their marketing. So this is the Hero Hub Hygiene model, which is actually a content model that combines 3 different types of content on a basis of a pyramid, or builds them on top of each other like that. And originally it was invented or created by Google, originally exclusively for YouTube, to allow companies and YouTubers to plan their videos according to a fixed program. And the idea was to anticipate the individual user behavior. It means to create a program that's the right program, just the right program for the user behavior. So that could reflect different types of knowledge, different tastes, different things. Could include all of that, consider all of that, and bring that into content ultimately. So to explain this Hero Hub Hygiene model, I've found a few examples, and the first example is Freeletics. The hero area, the hero part, has the motto "Go Big." That's a content element. Those are contents that are created not very often, rather rarely only, that are pretty comprehensive and cost intensive, and are normally brought out there via advertising to generate as much attention as possible. Normally that would be advertising, documentary advertising that looks like documentaries. Here I found a clip, a commercial from 2019 that is on YouTube, that was called up over 5.5 million times, and that didn't come out of nowhere, but of course it was controlled by a campaign plan that was mainly backed up by a large budget to purchase the reach on YouTube. So normally we talk what we call this advertising. If we go down one step into the hub area, we're talking about episodic content, meaning, that's the form of series. In the form of episodes means regularly, and these contents are supposed to get users onto my website where I inspire them. In this case, we're not talking about advertising content, which generates a lot of attention, or are supposed to get attention, but these are rather inspiring elements. In this case, the example is the comeback as a goalkeeper. And then the last aspect is the hygiene content. That's requested content. This is freeletics and the training of the tricep, which is about requested content in the truest sense of the word. There's a search intention behind it, and that often happens on search engines, of course, for example, Google. And here you can see if users enter and search for tricep training, they will end up on websites like this one. So this is requested content, and this content provides knowledge. The interesting thing about this model, I think, is that we have the dotted line, the green one. That's the classic marketing AIDA funnel on top of this Hero, Hub, and Hygiene model. And that shows in a I think final form how these contents take place in the user journey. So on the very top, that's where brand awareness is happening. First of all, you try to generate attention for something. That's the hero content, which is happening top of funnel. That can be extensively produced advertising commercials for hundreds of thousands of euros. Is produced for hundreds of thousands of euros and then played for hundreds of thousands of budget. But it can also be a study. It can also be a super interesting interview with which I manage to, first of all, afterwards market my products and to create brand awareness. It normally takes place outside of the website, meaning push. So if we think back to the Freeletics commercial, that of course massively or mainly took place on YouTube, and it was clicked on by 5.5 million people on YouTube, and a lot of money flowed on YouTube to purchase these clicks. That's why push. With Hub and Hygiene, it's rather a pull. You can rather talk about pull because it's happening on my own website, or is supposed to be happening on my own website. First of all, the Hub content is supposed to trigger commitment. Engagement means, first of all, the visit to my own website, and afterwards some kind of commitment or engagement in the form of click-through, newsletter, subscription, or also passive engagement by me generating or putting cookies and pixels to stay in connection, so to speak. But the main goal is that the users return on a voluntary basis. Then we take one step down to the hygiene content. That's classically trust and convince, where we get closer to the actual offer. And this is where we are showing the requested content. It could be a wiki, a classic knowledge area that is fast, to the point. It could be videos, text, graphics. It needs to answer certain questions quickly and to the point, needs to explain certain things very quickly and to the point, in very concise form, so that I can assume that the users who are looking for it are interested in having an answer, or getting an answer to their question. Hubs can be more blogs, magazines, and heroes, advertising formats that normally happen outside of my website. So here we have a rough presentation on this graph so that you can see, we have it in the form of boxes here. The hygiene area is where we selected a campaign runtime of 18 months. That could be a plan for the HHH model to understand, and this graph helps you understand the relation between the different contents. So hygiene could be the wiki, the knowledge area that I can set up as quite big, that will is supposed to prevail in search engines, that is supposed to generate traffic to my website, and then I have to update frequently, either by adding further content, producing further content, or by optimizing and expanding existing content. So it's a very continuous, extensive project, but the effort is not as high. Normally the contents are more cost efficient per piece, and if I take it to the next level, to Hub, it means you publish less frequently, but the contents are more cost intensive. That could be blog, magazine content that manages to tell stories, and that manages to make the customers loyal to my website and make sure they return. And on the very top, the black boxes, is the hero content, which is very punctual, one or two times a year, at bigger measures that are taking place fewer times, but bigger message that are supposed to create awareness. So that's the model. Can it work in practical life? Well, the thing is, the problem is that it applies to the fewest companies. The classic pyramid applies to very few companies. A good example is Red Bull. We know Red Bull mainly for epic, extensively produced documentaries or commercials. This is definitely hero content, very cost intensive. We're generating a lot of awareness, a lot of attention. And if you then look at the HHH model for Red Bull, ultimately it's the pyramid upside down. So the most content is actually the hero content, the hero pieces, the documentaries and commercials or advertising. In the HAB sector, we have magazine content, which is added on a fairly regular basis. And in hygiene, very product oriented field, you can't answer that many questions because the product as such is Red Bull, that is actually never really in the stories or hardly ever in the story. So there's not that much to talk about concerning the products as such. There's nutritional information, nutritional values, there is a description of how the product works maybe, but and a list of ingredients, but that's fairly it, pretty much it. However, that doesn't mean that the system is wrong or that this approach is wrong. It just means that every company needs to find their own balance in this. So for some company, it can be the classic pyramid, where once a year, twice a year, they publish a study or advertising campaign to generate attention, then magazines every now and then a lot of knowledge-based content or knowledge content, and in another company it could be a lot of advertising and they wouldn't deliver much content. So it depends on how you balance the model right for which company, or which model works well for which type of company or which business. That takes us to the framework where Mani, our head of marketing, has tried to show how companies can quickly and easily approach the topic of content and content strategy and content marketing strategy to quickly find out what their own content mix should look like. So this is Mani's table with the general content characteristics. He's tried to define them and combine them with further attributes. So the content characteristics on Hero Hub and Hygiene levels are clearly goals for the users. And I'm just giving you the extremes. Do I rather want entertainment or education? Goals for companies. Do I want to create brand awareness or trust or sell? Marketing approach means, is it rather a push, rather outside of my website, or is it rather advertising, or is it pull happening on my website? Is rather marketing or content related? What's the platform? Is it paid, or is it happening out there, or is it owned on my own platform? And then there's this aspect that I call the golden circle. You might also call it or interpret it as motivation, which is how do I as a user approach or get to the content, or how does a company or business, how do I as a company or business know which core argument I need to deliver? Should I answer the question why somebody should buy my product, or the how this product works, what it does, or the question what, how it solves a problem, or what the product actually delivers, what it contains, what elements make the product what it is. So those are the 5 content characteristics, and then we combine these with the market, product, and customer. So it's about understandability and emotionalizability of the product to target group and competition in the market, to the customer and his buying behavior, and that's combined in one matrix, which shows the product, market, product, and customer, and tries to link this or tries to match this with the characteristics of Hero, Hub, and Hygiene. When I move on to the next slide, which is what I'm actually aiming at, is that businesses and companies can use this model to ask themselves 5 questions, and by answering these 5 questions they can create their own graph that will show them, or us, what the content structure should look like roughly. You can use this to question an existing content structure by applying this principle, or you can use this principle if you haven't created any structure yet, to take the first steps and to try to understand which direction things should be moving in, should be going in. So here we have the target group. Is it heterogeneous or homogeneous? We have competition. Is it fierce or not very strong? Services that can be explained in a simple or a difficult way. The professional area that you can emotionalize easily or that is difficult to emotionalize. And the motivation, whether it's rather impulsive or rather rational. So to give you an example, and to stay with freeletics, I have created this slide to answer the question. So let's go through this quickly. The target group is comparatively balanced, means that there's neither a very strongly homogeneous, very small target group, nor a very heterogeneous mixed target group, so you're rather in the middle. Concerning competition, it's rather fierce competition, especially when you look at Google. There's pretty fierce competition. The service is fairly easy. It's a fitness app, or fairly simple. It's a fitness app with which you can either lose weight, maintain your weight, become fitter, build muscles, depending. But based on these different aspects, you can see that it's actually not that simple, because there's a lot of exercises for a lot of different goals that require explanation. So that's why this one is in the middle. Then the topic can be emotionalized to a very large extent. Fitness, sports, lifestyle is always emotionalizable, meaning that a lot of products in this area that are B2C in this field are easy to emotionalize, and the motivation is fairly rational. Normally you have a clear problem, a very defined problem. Out of the 5 examples, building muscles, fitness, balance, whatever you want to achieve, you have a problem that you want to solve, and for that you normally seek for a solution. And we can just put this into a pie chart, and there you go. Here you see what the shares of the content should roughly be like. So here, first of all, with freeletics, I think it's a bit lower. I mean, these are just estimated values, but I would say a maximum of 25% should be invested into hero elements. The next bigger share is the hygiene content, meaning that you can answer a lot of questions that deal with fitness, building muscles, training, different training units, and so on and so on and so on. Here you can build a lot and create a lot and offer a lot, but I also need to make sure that my users want to come back to my website, want to come back and feel inspired by what I'm offering, stories from other users, success stories from other users, for example, to make them want to consume more of this type of content and want them to come back to my website. And that way I've established a model. And that could be the pitch, no matter for which company, but that could be a pitch if I have not developed any content strategy yet, don't do any content marketing yet. So you can use this, break it down onto 3 or 4 slides, and then become aware of it for yourself, show it to your colleagues, your boss, co-founder, pitch it, and then start considering on this basis whether this could make sense, whether it could make sense to establish your own HHH model. This takes me to the 3 key takeaways. What did I want to convey with this presentation? What did I want to show you all today with these 2 parts? First of all, as I know we all can't stand hearing it anymore, but COVID-19 really is an economic factor. It means that it influences everything. It has an impact on everything. And also we as business owners, as entrepreneurs, as people working in marketing departments who have to make decisions under pressure, where decisions are made under pressure, and it's not going to reverse. So this trend that was started this year towards more digitization, to more video telephony, to more online training, this trend is just, a trip into the future that would have taken place anyway, but it was just accelerated or is happening sooner now. So COVID-19 is an economic factor and should be right now and in the coming years be integrated and included in all consideration, including marketing, sales, and branding decisions. Second, content strategy is a must. Companies who are in a market that really allows for it, and there's a lot of markets like that allow, especially in the fitness industry, there's a lot of niches, in a market that still allows you to become active and generate a marketing that is really sustainable and working in the long run, or can be sustainable and work in the long run, they need to check whether a content strategy can be implemented and how it can be implemented for that business. And we're not talking big companies. It could be a small company, 8 or 15 or 15,000 employees. This applies to small as well as major companies. And third, this increasing pressure that we're faced with, that we're exposed to as companies, as marketing departments who need to make decisions about measures and budgets, this pressure shouldn't perceive just as negative, but you should interpret it as something positive and understand it and use it as a chance to make decisions and on which basis marketing measures should be developed and executed, which can then ensure a competitive edge, which is currently enormously important. I hope you will manage to achieve this, and I hope that those of you who are currently wondering, should I or should I not, it's actually too late now. I can only tell you it's already too late now. You should be thinking about how you will do it and not if you should do it. You should already be thinking about how to do it at this point. And again, at this point, the offer to everybody, if you have questions, if you need this presentation again, or if you want to exchange opinions on the topic of HHH model content strategy, please approach me. These are my contacts. And thank you very much for your attention. Thanks for having taken the time to watch this presentation, and I hope your marketing efforts will be successful this year and in the coming years. Thank you, and bye-bye.